Hey guys, don't forget to hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I come up with a new video. Hi guys, what's up? Thank you so much for coming back. I'm Arpita and I welcome you back to the Crazy Wisdom. Alright, so it's turn for the season special video and this is the ongoing season of Virgos, the perfectionists. So let's get down and see what the 12 reasons are because of which a Virgo would break up with the rest of the signs no matter how good the relationship is. And so without further ado, put on your thinking caps and your wisdom boots. Let's get on and shoot. Now we all know that a Virgo is a very nourishing and a nurturing sort of a person, and they might do it in a very meticulous and a perfection seeking way, but they still are very soft, humble and polite. And this sort of clashes big time with the Aries soldier ways, which are direct, imposing, forceful and brash. And this sort of an attitude from an Aries end does not give that proper window to a Virgo to think and process over things before acting or reacting. And when this rudeness and brashness and this forcefulness in this relationship becomes a bit too much, that is the time when a Virgo decides to snap out of it. The reason here is rigidity. Now this usually falls under the category of a good match. But what is the worst thing that can happen in a Virgo-Taurus relationship? Well, a Taurus turning completely stubborn and stuck over things. Now, a Virgo is a mutable sign and they like changing with the changing trends. But when a Taurus reaches their maximum stubborn self and they refuse to listen to, consider or bow down to anything that a Virgo suggests or brings down as a change, that is the moment when a Virgo's criticism comes up big time and it offends Taurus a lot and it aggravates things further. And when such sort of a scenario starts to form in this relationship, a Virgo decides to back out of the bond and move towards a more flexible being. The reason here is lack of maturity. Now we all know that Virgo is ruled by a more mature form of Mercury than a Gemini, because of which a Virgo has a very set routine, timelines and deadlines to follow and meet. And in the middle of this, when a Gemini brings in their kid Mercury, Aries sort of an attitude, ki chill yaar, dekh lenge, kar lenge, ho jayega, no set plans for me, just relax and be in the moment. That is the time when a Virgo boils up till here because it sort of starts affecting their routine and their productivity and their output. And they decide to just get out of the bond and move over to a more mature relationship. The reason here is an emotional turmoil. Now we all know that a Virgo is a very crisp, stern, meticulous and to the point person, whereas a Cancerian is a complete opposite to this. Emotional, easily hurt and very sensitive. Now though a Virgo does not hurt intentionally and they are also very soft and polite in their ways. But when a Virgo starts to see that even the smallest thing they say, a rule they try to bring in or a change they propose is sort of hurting their Cancerian partner and taking them down the spiral lane, that is the moment when a Virgo decides to call it quits. The reason here, dictation. Now, a typical Leo would always want to direct their partner in their way of living and in their way of doing things. And a Virgo, though, is a lot considerate when in a relationship, but they definitely need their own free movement and their own independent thought process to work on things and to do things. But the stated fact here is that a Leo wants to rule and a Virgo wants to serve. And when this thing starts to clash and when a Leo starts to interfere in their basic thought process, in the basic way that a Virgo wants to function, that is the moment when a Virgo decides to back out of the relationship for good. The reason here, too much perfection. Now this is a tricky thing to understand because on one hand, this looks like a very good combination because both the partners are Virgo and both of them are exactly the same as their partner demands them to be. But the imbalance in this relationship comes when their need to perfect the other person according to their strategy surfaces and becomes greater than the relationship. Meaning that while one Virgo tries to impose things on their partner and tries to channelize them according to their set strategy, they forget that the other person is also a Virgo and they are doing the exact same thing with their partner. So both of them unintentionally enter this race of perfecting their partner and molding them according to them while completely forgetting that that is exactly what their partner is doing. And instead of bettering things, they bring in a lot of imbalance and turbulence in this relationship when a stage arises when no one is ready to listen to the other person. Both of them try to keep their point up because of which somewhere the relationship suffers and it sort of falls apart. The reason here is priorities. Now, a Libra, again according to a Virgo, is a very laid back, lazy and a slower in their pace sort of a person who, sort of brings their heart in a lot of things and while deciding in a lot of matters. which is one thing which irritates a Virgo a lot in this relationship, because they are uber practical, they are quick in their thoughts and at their feet, and they are the people who think that between love and work should get a higher priority, because that is what your duty is towards the society. And this goes against the Libra philosophy completely. And because of this, a lot of tiffs and fights occur between the two. And when this gets too extreme, a Virgo decides to back out of the bond, because they cannot be in a relationship where things are not prioritized, especially according to their list and their set of duties. So this is where this relationship ends. The reason here is different zones. Now, a Virgo is a very exact and precise personality, and they're focused towards growing on a day-to-day basis, and they're very much a part of this busy world where they have a lot of duties and responsibilities. Whereas a Scorpio, when it comes in this relationship, no matter how much they pretend, are not a part of all these worldly things that much. They run way deeper. They are more into the hidden stuff. They are more into finding out what the hidden meaning of life is. And they often retreat from the day-to-day tasks and duties and responsibilities. And a Virgo, because this relationship is good otherwise, sort of adjusts a lot in this one thing. But when a scenario comes up, when a Scorpio in turn starts to criticize a Virgo because of them being too involved in the mundane day-to-day tasks and all the duties and responsibilities, which they think are not a part of the greater thing that they are involved in, that is the time when a Virgo actually gets hurt. And that is the time when they feel that all their efforts and hard work are going waste and not getting enough credibility, and they decided to call it quits and move out of the bond. The reason here is an energy imbalance. Now, a Virgo is a very in-the-line and directed individual, and they know how to channelize their thoughts in a concrete way, one at a time. And then there is Sagittarius in this relationship, which is like an energy bomb in front of them, with their triggered threads cut in all different angles and directions, and no one knows which direction would get the maximum energy on which day. And this sort of creates a lot of unpredictability in a Virgo's life, because for them, every step, every minute, and every hour of a Virgo is mapped and calculated. And every new day with a Sagittarius for a Virgo is completely unknown and completely new, and they feel directionless in such a scenario. And when this one thing gets too extreme, and when this one thing sort of starts to affect their productivity, their output, and their mental peace, this is the breaking point of this relationship. And the moment it starts to get out of hands, that is the moment when a Virgo decides to break up and move on. The reason here is an emotional lack. Now, normally a Virgo-Capricorn relationship is a pretty good one, because a lot of things in their life paths and priorities match. Both of them are very work-oriented, both of them are service-oriented, because Virgo rules the 6th house of service and work, and Capricorn rules the 10th house, which is again of career and profession. And both of them sort of value their duties and responsibilities more than their desires. So this relationship sort of sustains. But this exact same thing becomes a reason of imbalance as well in this bond, because the entire thing shifts way more towards duties and responsibilities and tasks than is required. And because of this, their me time, their togetherness, their emotional connect sort of gets burdened beneath all these things, and it sort of gets lost. And because of this thing, because of this lack of emotional support and connection in this relationship, it sort of starts to fall apart. And when a Virgo starts to miss all those things, the nourishment and the nurturing, the care that they sort of give out to the world and want a little for themselves as well, that is the time when they sort of decide to move out of the relationship. The reason here, routine. Now, we all know that for a Virgo, timelines, deadlines, chronology of things, and following a routine is a strictly mandatory thing in their life. They cannot survive without it. Whereas on the other hand, for an Aquarius, all these things are completely non-existent, and they do not even know the meaning of these. They are free birds. They operate in a very random and a very unpredictable way. So, this relationship sort of gets turbulent and imbalanced from the start itself. And when these things surface a bit too much in the relationship, a Virgo snaps out of it for good. Alright, so the reason here is an escape mechanism. Now, a Pisces is a very calm, composed, and an easy breezy person, and they usually like to stay away from stress and anxiety. And when a lot of responsibilities and duties and stress comes up in their life, and they sort of get bogged down from all that, that is the time when they break all the ties and sort of move out into seclusion, because they want to balance themselves and they want to re-energize themselves. But this is completely opposite for a Virgo, because the moment stress and anxiety comes up, the higher the level of stress, the more strict and stern they become with their work. And they want to get involved in it, do it, complete it, until the time they get results out of it. So, they are not the ones who take a break. And this is the point of clash between these two people, because when a Virgo sees that their Pisces partner is nowhere around them to support them or to give their inputs in a situation, that is the moment when a Virgo decides to give up on the relationship and move out. Alright guys, so with this I put a wrap on today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to leave a cool thumbs up right underneath it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel in order to remain updated with all the latest news on zodiacs, astrology and motivation. Also, you can mail me your queries and questions for specific consultations. I'm attaching my email ID in the description section below. You can also contact me for the same on Instagram. My Insta ID you would again find in the description below. With this, I'll be meeting you again too soon, but don't forget to be crazy and wise until we meet for the next time. I'll see you guys sooner. Bye bye.